Let's now go across to American political scientist John Mearsheimer and understand the latest U.S.-Iran escalation. Is this the classic escalation trap, Mr. Mearsheimer? Good evening and thank you for speaking with us here at CNN News 18. My first question to you is, has Donald Trump got caught in an escalation trap?
I think there's no question about that. The problem that President Trump faces is that the United States has lost this war. And if we go back to the Memorandum of Understanding that was signed on June 17th, this was the memorandum that looked like it was going to end the war. It was basically a surrender document. The United States gave in to Iran on every point. In other words, Iran won on every point. And the reason is that the United States did not have a military strategy to defeat Iran. Now, what's happened since June 17th is that the United States tried to open a separate channel in the Persian Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz that the Iranians refused to accept. So we've now got back to a situation where the two sides are attacking each other with these tit-for-tat military strikes. But the problem is the United States can't win this battle, just like it couldn't win the battle before June 17th. And that's why we had to sign the Memorandum of Understanding. Nothing has changed. The United States does not have a magic formula for defeating Iran. So President Trump can escalate all he wants, but it's not going to do any good because the Iranians will match the United States at every point, and we don't gain an advantage.
And they can do it far more cost effectively. Would you agree there?
Absolutely. You want to remember that one of the principal reasons that we ended the air war on April 8th, it's important to understand that the war started on February 28th. On April 8th, we ended the air war and we moved to a naval blockade. This is a long time before the Memorandum of Understanding is signed. The reason that we ended the air war is that we were running out of munitions. The United States does not have an endless supply of munitions or weapons that it can use to conduct a large-scale air offensive. So we're in a position today where we have to be very careful that we don't use up almost all of the remaining weapons that we have. So you're absolutely right that Iran using these ballistic missiles and drones that they have is at a great advantage against the United States, which has all of this expensive weaponry, but only limited numbers of the weapons.
On a slightly macro perspective, does this also signal the end of the American hegemony across the world? Is now America as a global power, is it a thing of a past, global military power?
Let me make 2 points. First of all, America's position as the most powerful state in the world by far ended in about 2017 when the world went from unipolar to multipolar. It's when China and Russia became great powers. So the days when the United States was the only great power in the world, this is the famous unipolar moment, ended in 2017. So we are now in a position, we meaning the United States, where we face two other great powers, and one of them, China, threatens to become as powerful as the United States. So independent of the Iran war, we have lost our position as the world's only great power.
Kalalau Malak Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. In double honors to the elders of GMS Ruel, blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akimater in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Barakatah. Today's lesson, the game of tit-for-tat. Now, according to Wikipedia, tit-for-tat is an English saying meaning equivalent retaliation. It is an alternation of tit for tat, blow for blow, which was first recorded in 1558. And when it comes to this current war of Iran versus America, Iran has the upper hand when it comes to this war of tit for tat, of blow for blow. Right, because the scripture of 2 Esdras 15 and 30 has said that the Carmanians, aka the Iranians, will come with great power. And with that being said, let's go over to that scripture. Here we have the scripture of 2 Esdras 15 and 30. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. And when it comes to the Iranians, they are surely displaying that great military power in its first stages. Remember that Iran has been preparing for over 20 plus years for this moment in time. The modern day Assyrian is Edom, and that land of the Assyrians, that speaks of America. The Carmanians, upon the scripture, speaks of the Iranian wild boars of Iran. And wild boars, they are strong and aggressive. And that shall also be the mentality of these Iranian soldiers in the time of war. The Iranians of today are the Persians, and it is prophesied that they shall come with great power. And they are certainly displaying that great military power in its first stages. Now, a quick lesson upon the Iranians of today. It began in 1933 when the Persians asked governments around the world to make slight adjustments to the way in which they refer to their country and ruler. In 1934, they informed foreigners that from March 21st of 1935, Persia should be officially called Iran. That's how Persia became known as Iran today. But when it comes to DT's war with Iran, the modern day Nero, that war has definitely turned Iran into a major world power. So no longer can the little guy be bullied. They have been preparing all this time for this coming war that you are seeing now. Now, the Iranians do not have a big ground force, but they do have Shiite militias in Iraq and Syria. But even so, the scriptures have said that with great power shall they come. And you are seeing that military power being flexed. Biblical prophecy has said that with great power shall they come. Also remember that Russia has provided an unprecedented level of military aid. So is China. They are providing that technical support to Iran. So any attack on Iran will definitely draw out the Russians. We are no longer living in the time of peace but of war. Also, the time approaches when the allies of America shall betray them. As soon as they implement that CHIP of Revelation 13:16-18, that third world war cometh quickly. This current war being fought is with the fuel and burning of fire. It's a totally different kind of war. With that being said, let's go over to that scripture of Isaiah 9 and 5, which says the following. Here we have Isaiah 9 and 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Right, a totally different kind of war is approaching. No longer are these battles fought mano a mano. Now it's at the push of a button. The silo opens and that arrow of mass destruction shoots forth. And these missiles take flight. The battles of ancient warriors came with much confused noise. The confused noise of battle cries along with the banging of weapons against shields, the rattling noise of battle formations. You also have the clanging of swords and of shields shattering, armor being rattled and being pierced at the same time, along with the screams of the injured and of the dying. But when it comes to that confused noise that many shall hear in these last days, that will be with the much burning and fuel of fire. That confused noise that the people shall hear are the missiles striking all their strategic targets. That third world war that approaches shall be fought with the burning and fuel of fire. Right, it shall be fought with those arrows of mass destruction. These wars that you are seeing now are being fought with solid field missiles and with drones. Right, because those missiles are solid field missiles. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. No longer are these wars being fought mano a mano. It's now a different type of war. That destructive third world war that shall take place will be fought at the push of a button. And once those arrows of mass destruction are shot forth out of their respective silos, they shall kill millions upon detonation. That destructive war that shall come will be with much burning and fuel of fire. And it shall come quickly after they implement the CHIP of Revelation 13:16-18. It shall come quickly right after. Now when it comes to Iran, its mountainous geography, vast territory, and decentralized defense strategy make a large-scale invasion extremely complex. The Lord knew exactly what he was doing upon the creation of that mountainous region of Iran. For these last days, everything comes from the Lord. And when it comes to the Lord, he is a military genius and a strategist. The scriptures have said that the Lord is a man of war. That's why, upon the creation of Iran and its mountainous geography, vast territory, and decentralized defense strategy, the Lord knew what he was doing. That's why right now Iran has been nicknamed Fortress Iran, because of his mountainous geography. It's hard to invade. And when it comes to the Lord, he created all things. And when it comes to this current Iranian war, they are now showing their great military power in its first stages. Right now, you are seeing a tit-for-tat retaliation between both countries, but it shall be the Carmanians that shall have the upper hand at the end. That's why the scripture has said, but with great power shall they come. That is prophecy. That is inevitable. Iran has been underestimated, and due to that fact, they now possess an enormous arsenal within that 20+ year span of preparation. They could say all they want about, oh, we destroyed this on topsoil, but what's underneath in those mountains? Nobody knows but the Iranians. 20+ year span of preparation. That's a lot of weapons being stored. And plus, if they ever need weapons, Russia and China will provide. And what's coming is that third world war of utter destruction as soon as they implement that CHIP of Revelation 13, 16 through 18. But the scriptures have said that with great power shall they come. Right, the Carmenians shall come with great power, aka the Iranians. So a greater war is coming. But with that being said, Ka'olam Malak Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Rachak, Kodash, and double honors to the elders of Jemes Ruel. Blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing this word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Barakatah. Shalom.